Hello everyone. Today, we need to have a very honest and perhaps a very uncomfortable conversation. It is a conversation that most politicians avoid and corporate giants want you to ignore. We are constantly told a specific story about our country. We are told that our massive population is our greatest strength. We hear terms like demographic dividend or youth power. We are told that having more people means a bigger economy. But what if I told you that this is a lie? The United Nations has estimated that India's population won't stop growing until it hits 1.7 billion. Just think about that number for a second. 1.7 billion people. Right now, we are already seeing the cracks in the system. But when we reach that number, it won't just be crowded trains or traffic jams. We are looking at a future of severe resource scarcity, a breakdown of law and order, and a quality of life that spirals downward for everyone, except the super rich. In this discussion, we are going to break down the reality of overpopulation. We are going to look at who actually benefits from keeping you in the dark, and why a two-child policy for the next 30 to 40 years is not just a political choice, it is a survival necessity. Let's start with the money. Why is the system so quiet about population control? Why do the top 100 companies spend thousands of crores on corporate social responsibility, but spend almost zero on family planning awareness? The answer is simple economics. It is about supply and demand. Imagine you own a massive factory. Do you want 10 people applying for a job, or do you want 1,000 people applying for that same job? If 1,000 people apply, you can pay them less. You can make them work longer hours. You can treat them poorly. Why? Because if one person quits, there are 999 desperate people waiting outside the gate to take their place. Industry loves overpopulation because it creates cheap labor. And don't think this only applies to factory workers. This is happening to the educated middle class too. We are creating a generation of what I call intellectual laborers. Parents sell their land, take huge loans, and sacrifice everything to educate their children. They tell their kids to study hard, get a degree, and get a job. But what happens when millions of students graduate every year with the same degrees? The market gets flooded. Suddenly, an engineer is doing a job that pays very little. A PhD scholar is applying for a low-level office job. And then, we hear corporate leaders saying things like, young people should work 70 hours a week. Of course they say that. They have a surplus of humans. You are easily replaceable. That is the harsh truth of the demographic dividend. It's not a dividend for you. It's a dividend for the corporations who get to hire you for cheap. But let's step away from the economy for a moment. Let's talk about something you can't print more of. The earth. We have to understand a basic fact. The land is limited. The water is limited. The minerals are limited. But our population is growing as if resources are infinite. Let's look at a real-world example. Look at Johannesburg in South Africa, a world-class city. They literally ran out of water. It is happening in our major cities too. Think about the villages. 2 generations ago, a grandfather might have had 50 acres of land. He had 4 sons. They split it. Those sons had 4 sons. Now, the current generation is left with a tiny patch of land that can't even feed a single family. So, what do? They migrate. They run to the cities. And what happens to the cities? They collapse. We see security guard jobs, delivery jobs, and factory jobs filled with people who have fled villages because the land ran out. And here is the cruel irony. The wealthy, the ones encouraging this population growth, are insulated from the damage. When the air becomes toxic, the rich buy expensive air purifiers for their homes and their luxury cars. When the water runs out, they buy private water tankers. When the government hospitals are overcrowded, they build their own private five-star hospitals. They don't suffer from the crowd. You do. The middle class and the poor are the ones fighting for a seat on the bus. We are the ones fighting for a hospital bed. We are the ones breathing the smog. The capitalist class has secured the resources, while the rest of us are left to fight over the scraps. There is a darker side to this that we rarely discuss. It is not just about money or water. It is about who we become as people. When you put too many living beings in a small space, they start attacking each other. Humans are no different. When a country gets too crowded, survival becomes the only goal. And when survival is at stake, ethics go out the window. Why do you think we see so much corruption? Why do we see adulterated food, fake medicines, and scams everywhere? Because people are desperate to make money by any means necessary. The competition is so fierce that people stop caring about their neighbors. It becomes a dog-eat-dog world. If we reach 1.7 billion people, society will enter a phase of what I call a civil dog fight. It won't be a war with guns. It will be a daily war for basic amenities. A war for a parking spot. A war for a college seat. A war for a bucket of water. We look at China today and we see a superpower. We see clean cities and massive infrastructure. Do you know why? Because decades ago, they made a hard decision. They implemented a strict population policy. They understood that you cannot become a developed nation if you are drowning in people. Today, China is reaping the benefits of that control, while we are still debating if population is even a problem. Our hesitation is costing us our future. Now, I know what the critics say. I hear the arguments from the so-called intellectuals all the time. They say, look at Singapore. Look at Tokyo. They have high population density, and they are rich. So why can't we be like them? Please, let's stop fooling ourselves. We are not Singapore. Singapore is a city-state with 100% literacy, strict laws where you get fined for spitting on the road, and a highly disciplined society. We are a country where basic civic sense is often missing, where literacy is still catching up, and where our systems are already broken. You cannot copy Singapore's density without Singapore's discipline and infrastructure. They also say the population will stabilize on its own as people get educated. Sure, it might. But by when? By the time we hit 1.7 billion? By the time our groundwater is gone? By the time our forests are gone? Waiting for natural stabilization is a luxury we do not have. The damage being done right now is irreversible. So, what is the solution? It is harsh, and it might sound authoritarian to some, but it is necessary. We need a mandatory two-child policy for everyone, and we need it strictly implemented for the next 30 to 40 years. This isn't about hating children. It's about loving the children we already have. If we want the next generation to have clean air, high-paying jobs, and a life of dignity, we have to stop the crowd from growing. We have to prioritize quality over quantity. The system is close to collapsing. If we don't act now, we are leaving our children a country that is fighting itself for a drop of water. So I ask you, do you want a country of cheap laborers and struggling citizens? Or do you want a prosperous nation where every child has a future? Think about it. Because the powers that be, they are counting on your silence. Thank you for listening.